Okay, so now that we've calculated the monthly mortgage payment, we'll need to put in a bunch more details so we can finally compare our mortgage cost with rent cost with our income, and then compare it over time if we adjust for in projected inflation, and then make a little graph. So let's get some more details in here. So we've got the monthly mortgage payment, but just for practice, I'm just going to go back to the original numbers we had. So the property price originally was 200,000. So just put in 200,000 and press enter. Don't do 20,000 like I did. That will mess everything up. So we got 200,000. Down payment was 20%. Okay, so loan amount was $160,000. Annual interest rate 5%. Monthly interest rate 0.41667%. Term of loan 30 years. Number of payments 30, and there our monthly mortgage payment is back to the original one we had, which is $859 per month. Okay, so let's just make sure we got the original numbers back in. Okay, and now our annual mortgage cost will be what? And how do you think you could calculate that? Annual mortgage cost. So this is the monthly payment. So if we had 12 of these payments, what would it be, and how would we calculate that, right? So we can just again do an equal sign and take this number here and multiply it by 12, right? So take whatever's here and just do the star 12. So equals D9 star 12. Press enter. Okay? And there's our annual mortgage cost. So 12 payments basically, right? But as you all know, as you might know, owning a house, the cost is a lot more than just paying back the loan to the bank, okay? So for example, we've got insurance, and this can vary. It depends on your location, depends on the house, depends on the insurance company, it depends on your insurance plan, and so on. But I'm just, this seems like a ballpark figure of 0.35% of the property price. It could be more or less than that, but that's about a ballpark figure, so I've just put that in. You can change that if you want to. Remember, you can change anything in yellow. All the yellow numbers can be changed to fit whatever situation you like, and the white numbers are calculated. So we just get this percentage of the property price. So if you could just go equals, and then this number times star property price, enter. Okay, so we're looking at about $700 per year for insurance for the house. Property tax, again, can totally vary, depends on your city, your state. Zero, and a ballpark figure is this. This is the area I live in, 0.8%. So, and again, you can change that for a different area. So equals this figure times the property price, 200,000, which is D1. So equals C13 times D1. So we're looking at about $1,600 a year in property tax. And then maintenance, again, this can vary. I mean, personally, I like to fix my own house, so I consider this to be, I mean, a lot of people will say you need 1% of the price of the property per year to maintain it. I'm going to say 0.5% because I do all the repairs myself anyway. But again, this can vary, so we'll just put in that equals this times property price, enter. So about $1,000 a year for maintenance for the house. Home, and then there's homeowner association dues sometimes. I've just put in ballpark figure $500 per year. It could be more, it could be less, depends where you live. It could be nothing. And of course, there could be lots of other line items you might want to put in here. Okay, there could be other things. So our initial annual home ownership costs I'm just going to call that all of these things added together, right? So I can go equals sum parenthesis and then take this one D12 colon down to D15. So I go equals sum parenthesis D15 colon D12, sorry, colon D15, close the parenthesis and press enter, right? So equals sum parenthesis D12 colon D15, close parenthesis, press enter, right? Of course, if you want to, you could just add them all together. So if you don't want to use the sum function, so if you want to add them all together, you could have just went, so that was 3,800, right? So we could go equals this plus this plus this plus this and press enter. That will also give you 3,800, but I'll just do that again. We went equals sum parenthesis D12 colon D15 close parenthesis, press enter, right? And now monthly home ownership costs, just for fun, just so we can see that figure. How would we get that? So I'm just thinking about, this per month. What would this amount per month be? You just take this number here and then you just divide by 12, right? So about $317 per month, around $300 a month, right? So, so we got to consider this again. It's not just the mortgage payment. So our monthly home ownership cost with the mortgage, right, is going to be take the $859 and add the $317, isn't it? So we'll take this number and this number, add it together, right? And that's what you compare to renting, okay? Not just the mortgage payment. You can't say, oh, $859 is less than the typical rent in the area. No, you got to add the home ownership costs as well. So equals the mortgage payment plus the home ownership costs, press enter, right? And now we can look at, for fun, the annual home ownership cost with the mortgage. So it's this monthly times 12, right? So if we want, we can go equals this number star 12. Okay, and that gives us 14,107. Is there another way of getting this number? Right, so there is. So just to check, why don't we do this? Why don't we go equals the annual mortgage cost, that's the 12 payments, 10,307 plus the annual home ownership costs, 3,800, right? And that should give us 14,107 as well. So there's two ways of getting this number, isn't there? So again, the way I did it was I just took the monthly home ownership costs, right? And I just took this number and I times it by 12, right? Okay. So when you're considering a mortgage, so what we have now is about $1,176 per month for having this mortgage, because we've added in the home ownership costs. And what you always want to consider is, okay, how does that compare to renting, right? Now, if this is lower than renting, that should influence your decision. That might influence your decision on buying. Or if it's more than renting, it could also influence your decision. So, and sometimes this can indicate the state of the housing market, because that's the other issue, right? So let's say, for example, for argument's sake, that this, totally similar house in this particular area is renting for $1,000 per month. So it's a little less, okay? So we'll just do that. I've just put in 1,000 for monthly rent. And so what would the annual rent be? It would equal the monthly rent times 12. Okay? And just remember, when you're renting a house, you are paying property tax. You are paying insurance. You are paying maintenance. And you are, in fact, paying a mortgage. Did you know that? Because you're paying all these things for the owner. plus a little bit more besides, so they can make money from the hassle of renting it to you. Okay, so oftentimes when you're renting, you're paying not only all of the home ownership costs, but you may also be paying a mortgage to the owner of the house too. So that's something to think about